Well, we've got a great speaker coming up next. Michelle is supposed to introduce her. Michelle, are you here? Michelle Zollinger? Here she comes. Whew. Hi. Sorry about that. I wasn't paying attention. All this sheep and everything. I'm here again to reintroduce Linda Reiser. Linda Reiser. I know I introduced her yesterday, and I have to reintroduce her. I was told I have to do it again. Linda, oh wait, I forgot my paper. I'll be right back. Oh gosh, I can't even read my own handwriting. Oh well, I'll just wing it. Y'all probably remember most of what I said yesterday about Linda. Linda has been a member of LWML forever. And is a past LWML president. I think she was LWML president in the 1990s, or was it the 2000s? I don't know. I think it was before Virginia von Segern, or wait, maybe it was after Virginia von Segern. I don't know. Sometime. Anyhow, she's an LWML president. Linda is either from, is it Norfolk or Grand Island, Nebraska. Oh! Hi, friends from Nebraska South. Thank you. Grand Island, Nebraska. Oh, yeah, okay. Linda's married. She has some kids and grandkids. Not sure what she's going to talk about today, but I'm sure you'll learn a lot. Here she is again, Linda Reiser.
Since I've been around forever, I better look like it, huh? Wow. Michelle? Wow. So as an audience, are you feel worse for her or for me? Is there any reason she's really given you to listen to me? You are curious, yeah. I think all of you as leaders and all of you who your district presidents invited to be here will be given the opportunity at some time to introduce someone, probably at your district convention. And what just happened should never happen to a speaker. Michelle, come back up here if you would. We'll come back up here. And what I want to say to you is do not think because you're introducing, all you have to do is do an introduction. You do not need to prepare. You will find yourself stumbling and bumbling and making off-the-cuff remarks that diminish your credibility as well as the speaker's. There's 3 things you should share when you're doing an introduction. The first one is, what is the speaker's topic? The second one is, why are they qualified to speak about that topic? And the third one should be, why are you excited that they're here to talk about that topic? By doing this, you bring both credibility to the speaker and you give your audience a reason to listen to that speaker. Are you coming up here, Michelle? She didn't before. Come back up here. Come back up here, because I did promise Michelle this. Come up here. Michelle, as you know, can do a great introduction. She did a wonderful introduction yesterday. And I want you to know that I promised her that you would give her total forgiveness because I asked her to introduce me in a very poor way. And she did a good job, didn't she?
I did rehearse the first introduction, and I stumbled a little bit on my words, but then after John's talk, you have to fail a little bit. So if you do stumble, even though you are prepared, it's okay. Keep going.
As John would say, failure creates success, right? But we need to learn from that failure so that we're successful the next time. I did a little survey of some of my friends at church and a few others in preparation for this, and asked them if they had ever heard some really poor introductions. You've got mail. Somebody's got mail. And it was really interesting to me that the majority of them told me they had heard a poor introduction. And there was a common thread that they shared. And the worst introduction that all of them could remember was when someone got up there and introduced the speaker and said, "This person needs no introduction." You know, and you could maybe say that, you know, I'm a past president, and Michelle said this person probably needs no introduction. But almost every speaker benefits from at least a brief introduction. I was once introduced like this. Some of you have heard Linda speak before. For the rest of you, I hope you enjoy it. Really? I didn't know what to do. and that's an honest introduction I had. And it's probably a little bit uncomfortable to the speaker, and it's probably a little uncomfortable to some people in the audience. Another thing you should not do, as well as not saying this person needs no introduction, it's really not very good to over-exaggerate, to say this person's going to answer all your questions. Or, you know, we could have said, John's going to explain to you how to change everything well. You know, because what an audience is going to do if you say they have the answer to everything, or he or she can help you answer all your problems, it sets the audience up to prove you wrong. It sets the audience up to, rather than maybe listen to the message for what the message is about, to find reasons to say, no, they couldn't answer everything. They couldn't tell me all the answers to everything question I had. So don't over-exaggerate either. It's not the time for you to be heard. A 2-minute introduction is plenty. You need to not take the time for the speaker. I have been places where the introduction became so long the speaker didn't have as much time to speak as they had planned. That is not good either. Don't list all their qualifications. Usually in your convention manuals, you have a bio of the speaker. You do not need to read that entire bio. You need to let people know what is significant for the reason the person was chosen to be your speaker. I also would encourage you to be very accurate. Don't have the speaker have to come up here and correct the things that you said. And even if they don't correct them, they're a little uncomfortable because you have been inaccurate. As Michelle said, my name wrong, the dates I served, and so forth like that. Most importantly, the thing I've heard the most is mispronunciation of names. I encourage you, because especially at your district convention, that speaker is there. Get an opportunity to maybe meet with them, maybe email them before they come. Find out if there's something they would like you to say when you introduce them. I really encourage you to pray with that speaker that morning before they speak. Just say a short prayer with them. Thank them for being there. Michelle and I came up here before, a little bit before, so let the speaker know what the plan is. That you're going to come up and you're going to find them in the audience, bring them up here, you know, say we'll be sitting up here while you're introduced, whatever it is. Make them feel comfortable. Be sure you know how to pronounce their name, and then when you introduce them, as you've heard here from all the introductions, say their name last. Well, you know, let's show a great LWML welcome too. Always pronounce their name last in the introduction. I'm going to step away from this a minute and come back. Is this on? Is this on? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I don't like these things. I'd rather not be up here. I'm not very good at this. I don't like these microphones very well. Welcome everybody to our meeting today. I had those papers over here somewhere, and we need to finish our. Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Let me step away. I'm hoping none of those things you saw in that crazy moment are anything that's very familiar to you. I have seen them. I hope you haven't. But I'm going to tell you that you as a leader, the thing I see most that happens in meetings, conventions, I've been to a lot of your district conventions, and just your board meetings. When you go to a venue to have a meeting and all of the people are over here having coffee and fellowship, it is your responsibility, I feel, as a leader, and now that you have invited other leaders to this event, they can also help you. But go check out the equipment. Know how to raise or lower the microphone. You don't have to be in it like this. Usually just your mouth over the top of the microphone is good. Find out who is responsible for the volume, or can you adjust the volume? Some of them you can adjust right here. Know if it's a handheld. Does it come out? How do you turn it on? How do you turn it off? What person in the room is going to help you? The pastors are used to using microphones and a lot of that technology, so you can ask your pastoral counselors for some help. But I really suggest, as leaders, you check that out before the meeting starts. You know that the microphone is set for your height or for you to speak in. Have your papers here ready to go. Know how this thing works. So that when you start the meeting, you can put your hands on the side of the podium, you can smile, you can welcome people, and you are prepared. And you look like a leader. So I'd highly encourage you to do that. I also encourage you to look people in the eye. And John had said something to me earlier that if you even have someone who's your friend, I can look at Marilyn to the left, and I can look over here at someone, and I can look over there at someone. You don't have to look at everyone, but you want to look around the room in people's eyes. You don't want me talking to the ceiling or way above you, and you don't want me looking down at my paper all the time. You need to look people in the eyes. For part of the time, I mean, yes, you have to look down at your paper as well. But you should be able to, I would hope, memorize a line or two, know what you're going to say to welcome people. 1 or 2 sentences is all I'm asking you to know, so that when you're welcoming people to that meeting, you are looking at them in the eye, you're smiling, and you're looking at them in the eye. I keep saying that because it is so important to engage people with you as a speaker. Look them in the eye. How do you do that? Rehearse, practice, look in a mirror, say your opening lines a few times a day in a mirror. Look at yourself in a mirror and see how you look. You can't imagine how much I practice in a mirror and rehearse. It helps. It makes a difference. And so I encourage you to do that. Public speaking is a fear for many people. It is real. It's been known that there are 35 psychological differences that happen in your body, and I can probably tell you 34 of them right now. I'm just kidding. But your heart rate increases, your blood pressure goes up, your palms get sweaty, and on and on and on. So those things, it's a symptom of adrenaline. And if you say to yourself, I don't like to do this, I'm nervous, it's not going to help you. But if you say, I'm energized, it's a positive word. I'm energized. I can do this. So keep thinking positively. Don't think I don't like to do this. And the fact of the matter is, God bless you. You are fearful, but most of the people in the audience don't see that. It's far more apparent to you of your fear than it is to the audience, unless you're, something like that. I tell people, if you're a little nervous, just put your hands on the side of the podium. Take a deep breath and smile. Smiling is contagious. Most of you would rather be sitting out there than up here, correct? Maybe I could pick a few of you and bring you up one at a time, right? Smiling is contagious, and it's a positive feeling. It's positive energy. It also helps to pray before you begin. Maybe someone else would pray with you. Another helpful tip is that you're there to serve the audience. It's not about you. It's not about you as a speaker. It's about what you are doing and giving to the audience. I just said If I look you in the eye, I tend to have less ums and uhs. I don't know about you, but I know there's a few of us in the room that have been together at various speakers. And instead of focusing on their message, you're counting their ums and their uhs. Or someone who's always having to push their hair back. And it happened recently at a speaker I was at, and I tended to start not paying attention to the message and thinking about, when I noticed the hair, I'd think, okay, how soon is it going to happen, It's true. It's true. You need, as a speaker, to not have anything interfere. And that's another reason at the national level, you'll notice we take off all the shiny name badges. We don't usually have lots of jewelry on that's shiny because the lights shine on it and affects the lighting. And so that's another thing that's just a tip we do at the national level, or always did, is take all the name badges off because that bright, shiny stuff reflects. And so we tend to not wear that. So stand tall at the podium, adjust the microphone if it's needed, and then we talk about caffeine before you're speaking. I have told people in the past to avoid caffeine as much as possible. If you're a coffee-addicted person and you drink 3 or 4 cups a day, you probably need some caffeine before you speak. But my recommendation is, an example, usually a couple days before I know I'm going to do a keynote address or speak a half hour or 45 minutes, I don't know about John, but I tend to start hydrating a little more with extra water and start drinking a little less caffeine. Caffeine is known to cause anxiety. If you get a little nervous if you're going to speak, it just creates a little more anxiety. It also dries your mouth, and it also causes your tongue to get dry a little bit and dry mouth. So you don't want to drink a lot of caffeine. Let me also tell you that if you drink a cup of coffee and you're shaking, you're drinking really bad coffee. You need to get better coffee. But drinking coffee, if you're already having some anxiety and a little nervous, coffee just exasperates the situation. So I won't say don't drink it, but probably avoid it a little bit at least. What else was I going to say? I was going to have all of you stand. I know some of you won't be able to see me, so I'm going to do it this way. Some people, when they stand there, you see people with their legs wrapped around the other. Pretty soon you're going to wonder if I'm going to fall down if I do that, right? Another thing that you see speakers do is the fig leaf, or the reverse fig leaf, or the spider with their hands like this, the spider climbing up the wall, or they cross their arms, or they hold their head in their chin. You've probably seen speakers do that. I'd like you to stand, and we're going to talk about a good stance, even behind a podium, because this gives you confidence. So just roll your shoulders a little bit, get a little loose, because your body language affects your brain chemistry. You might not believe it, but it's true. Your body language affects your brain chemistry. So, okay, just toes straight, not a foot to the side. Just knees bent a little bit, maybe your weight's a little bit forward, and and no hands in front of you, no fig leaves. I don't want to see the fig leaf. Okay, arms at your side. Okay, most of you have, so I want to show you something. If your arm at your side, make sure turn your thumb back, to the back. And now when you turn it forward, I want you to feel the difference in your shoulder. You feel your shoulder just go up a little bit? Does it feel a little different? If you stand straight, and if your thumb is back, turn your thumb forward. This is a very good position to be in for speaking. Now I know a lot of times you're at a podium, you have your hand on there, but don't turn your thumbs back. Have your thumbs forward. It keeps your shoulders back, and that's a position that tells your brain you're in control, you're in power. Establish that balanced stance. Just relax your arms. Okay, show me your podium stance. Awesome. Pastors, you got it, right? You got it. You got it. It's got a real positive effect. I'm not kidding. It sends a powerful message to your brain that you're in charge. And then along with this, you have to smile. Look like you're having a good time, right? A genuine smile. And that keeps you from having that inner voice. I always say those butterflies, that you have, I just tell them you got to all go the same direction. You got to get that positive. You feel energized, not nervous. You're energized. And Patty's butterflies, get them all going in the same direction so that it helps you. Keep your inner voice to say positive things. You can sit down now. Thank you for doing that. Your gestures, you see the gestures that I'm using right now? Maybe on the side you can see it, but do any of you see my gestures? Let me put this in. So the gestures I'm doing right now have no effect on my speech. In a room this size, your gestures come from your shoulders, not your fingers. You need gestures. You don't want to be doing this. That's distracting. But when you make a gesture, it's from your shoulder, and it's big enough for people to see, okay? So thank you very much for that. I want to talk a couple minutes about PowerPoints. A lot of people think a speech is a PowerPoint. If you have a PowerPoint, you've got a speech. Not true. Not true. That's almost the worst thing you can think about. When you're preparing a speech, you should think of all of what the presentation of what you're going to do. Why am I speaking to this audience? What is it they need to learn? What is it they need to hear? What do they need to take home? And then my PowerPoint should reinforce what I'm going to talk about. And you need to really rehearse with that PowerPoint. I'm sadly going to say I think we've seen some of it here today, and some of that is not, there's no blame, okay? It's because of what they had to show. But if you see a PowerPoint on your computer, it's a whole lot different than a PowerPoint in a large room like this. Now in this room, we have screens on both sides. But if you're in a small room where there's only one screen, you as a speaker should try to be at all possible on the left side of that screen, because you read from left to right. And if you're on the right side, I guarantee you nobody sees you because their eyes are going back to read the screen. So you need to if you can. Now in this case, this is why it's so important when you have a double screen that my PowerPoints that for instance, yesterday, reinforce what I'm saying. I don't want you looking out there and reading them. They should just be a few words, a picture, something that reinforces what I'm saying, because otherwise you're spending your time reading that. If there's too much on the screen and I can't read it, you've lost me. I'm probably on my phone. If I'm reading it to you, you can read faster than I can read to you, and so you're done with the slide far sooner than I am, and you've lost your audience again. So be real careful about that. A font in PowerPoint should probably be in a room this size, should be at least 32 or maybe 40 or 44, not 18. Sometimes you put something up there, which a lot of the committees here showed you a picture of a map of the rooms just for reference, but you had it in your folder. Or Linda Gage showed some things for Gifts of Love, showed the cover so you knew what to find in your booklet. That's great, that's fine. She's not reading anything off there expecting you to read it. But just remember, you really have to make sure your PowerPoints will engage the people, that they're readable. Also, white on a darker background. Blue is probably the best in a large room and the most readable. A white print on a darker background. So just try different things like that. But again, Your PowerPoint, you should never read those PowerPoint slides. All of that fun stuff we do to fly in and out is fun, but it can also be distracting if you use too much of it. So again, just a quick review, reminder on introductions. It's not about you, it's about the speaker. Use their name last. Stand tall, let your brain know that you're in charge. Smile and have fun. I really encourage you to practice and rehearse in front of a mirror. Be able to say a few lines of welcome at your district convention, at your board meetings, and looking at the people there and not at your paper. And then I encourage you, if you don't know how to do the PowerPoints, find one of your young people and let them help you arrange those PowerPoints and help you with that if you need it. But most of all, just smile and have fun, and God bless.